right, howdy. Today's assignment is going to be very simple. You guys are watching this video the whole way and you're following along and doing the problems on your own to review for tomorrow's test. And the assignment that goes along with this video is going to be a simple reflection on how did you do. All right, remember that this is for your own good. So if you're following along and you are participating and you're trying on your own, you will learn something out of this review. Okay? So let's go over the expectations. So you guys are working together with your face-to-face people to earn the really cool prize of extra points on the quiz and some daily points. So make sure you guys are following along, and if you complete your assignment and your classmates in face-to-face earn the biggest prize, you will also get the prize. If you do not turn the assignment in, then you will not get the prize. All right? So you will have a limited amount of time to answer the questions on your own sheet of paper. And after the time is over, I will let you know what the answer is, maybe give you some hints, let you know what people miss the most on these. Okay? So let's get started. So on this first question, for $100, what is the y-intercept of this function? Right? You're going to look at the graph above and tell me what the y-intercept of the function is. If you guys need more time than the ones that I'm giving you, I don't think I'm going to wait the whole minute because you guys are always allowed to pause this video. This is mostly for your face-to-face people to have a whole minute to process it. Right, so I'll probably give you about 30 seconds on each of these, and then you can pause if you need more time. And then we'll go over the answer. All right, so on this one, the answer is 0, -4. Your y-intercept, it's on the y-axis, right? I have this drawn. Your y-intercept is on your y-axis. So if you look at where your y is and where your blue line meets that y, it's at -4. Remember that we put it, because my y-intercept, you're going to put it where the y is. So make sure it's the -4 goes where the y would be. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. Here, I'll put these up here. Okay, same graph for $200. What is the 0 or x-intercept of this function? Notice here that 0 and x-intercept mean the exact same thing. So now I want you to look at this graph. Tell me where your 0 or x-intercept is. If you need more time, this would be a great time to pause it. All right, so let's go over it together. So our answer here should have been 2, 0. So your x-intercept is where your line crosses the x. So if this is my line here, like the blue line, where does it meet the x-axis? It meets at 2. Remember that your points go x, y. So if I'm looking for my x-intercept, make sure that the number goes where the x is. So it should be 2, 0, not 0, 2. All right. For $300, same exact graph, I want you to tell me what is the slope of this function. Remember that slope is rise over run. It is your y's over your x. It is how many we went up over how many you went to the right. Make sure that you guys pick the right sign because, you know, if it's a positive slope, you're going up as you go to the right. If it's negative, you're going down as you go to the right. All right, so this is a good time to pause it if you need more time still. Not, let's go over. The answer should have been 2. The reason why we get 2 is because if you look at your graph, if you're going from the 2 points that I gave you, I went up 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to the right 2. 1, 2. So this is 4. This is 2. And what's 4 divided by 2? 4 divided by 2 is 2. Notice it's a positive slope because I'm going up and to the right. All right, moving on. For $400, I want you to look at this graph and tell me, do you think that this is a discrete function? Is this a continuous function? Or is this not a function? If it is not a function, it's because one x has multiple y's, meaning that your x repeats. If it is a function, you're going to tell me whether it's discrete or continuous. Discrete meaning that it's a bunch of little dots, and continuous meaning that it's a connected line. All right, so if you need more time, pause it now. And now we're going to go over it. So this one is a function because all of the x's only have one y. So none of my x's repeat. And is discrete because it's dotted. So let's move on to the next one. It's very similar. I want you to look at the graph above. Tell me, is it a discrete function, continuous function, or not a function? All right, I just explained on the last one. So if you need more time, pause it now and continue whenever you're ready. So this one is not a function. The reason why is if you look at your 4, when x is equal to 4, I have 2 different y's. So this 4 repeats 2 times. So this time it is not a function. All right, same exact concept. You're looking at this graph, you're telling me whether it's a discrete function, continuous function, or not a function. This is for 1,000 points, or 3 extra points on your quiz. So if you need more time, this is a great time to pause it. And now we're going to go over it. So this time, it is a continuous function. Notice that it's a line that is connected. None of my x's repeat 2 times, like every single one of the x's only has one y. So therefore, it is a function, and because it's connected, it is continuous. All right, so this would have been where if you miss any more after this, then you would have had to start again from the very beginning. But after this one, you would just, like if you're at 2,000 and you miss it, they will go back to 1,000. Or at 4,000, they will go back to 1,000. They wouldn't have to go all the way to 0. So this is what it means. All right, let's move on to question number 7. For 2,000 points or $2,000, you're going to look at these and you're going to tell me which of these is not a function. So look at the domains, look at the range, and tell me which one is not a function. So remember, when it's not a function, your x's are going to have multiple y's. Your x's are going to repeat. There's only one here that is not a function. So if you need more time, this is an excellent time to pause it. If not, if I make the time run as much as it needs to, it's going to be like an hour-long video, which we don't all want. Okay, so pause it here if you need more time. And let's go over it. So on this one, the domain and the range that is not a function is letter C. The reason why is because, let's say you're graphing this information. You're making a new graph, and you're going to graph this one. So let's say the 2 is going to go with -1. So that's 2 for the x, -1 for the y. So that's 1 point here. All right, now let's do 3 and 0. That's 3 on the x, 0 on the y. All right, but notice I still have more y's, and I need to use them all. So I'm going to have to repeat the 2 with the 1, or the 2 with the 2, the 3 with the 1, or the 3 with the 2. So because I have more x's than I have y's, your x's are going to repeat, and therefore it's not a function. All right? Let's clear that. Let's move on. So for 4,000 points, so $4,000, what is the slope-intercept of the equation of the line with the points 2, 4 and negative 1, 7? If you want to, you can open up an extra screen on the side or on your phone or like on your second device, and you can put these points into a linear regression calculator. So I'm giving you guys one of those. Give me a second. So I'm giving you guys a linear regression calculator. You can put these points into this table and put calculate now to find your equation. So pretend you didn't see that. Let's start here. All right, so you're putting in the points 2, 4 and negative 1, 7. And you're telling me what is my slope and what is my y-intercept. All right, if you need some more time, you can pause here. Now we're going to move on. So what you should have gotten was that x is negative 1, and not x, slope is negative 1, and my y-intercept is 6. Make sure that when you put in your table, something that people kept messing up on was make sure that your x and your y's, your x's go in the first column, your y's go in the second. So when you write down the point 2, 4, you're going to put 2 here, 4 on this side. I had a lot of people putting it down here with the other x. That's not true. The second x is negative 1. My second y is 7. All right. Moving on to the next one. For 8,000 points, using the same slope from the last equation, meaning that m is equal to negative 1, and the point 2, 4, write the equation in point slope form. Remember, point slope is when you put your y's with the y's, your x with the x, and your slope goes in the middle. Make sure you do the exact same number for the slope, but opposite signs for your point. So if you need more time, great time to pause. All right, so now we're going to go over it. It should be this one. It should be D. Because remember, for the y, you're going to look at the number that's on the y, which is 4. And I'm going to write down the opposite of what I see. So it should be negative 4. In the middle, I'm going to have my slope, which is negative 1. And my x is 2, so the opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2. So it should be D. Right? For $16,000, again, I'm giving you guys a table. Go put it on your regression calculator. And tell me, what is the line of this table? All right, if you need more time, pause it here. Now we're going to go over it on the next one. All right, so my answer should have been 4x. Notice that your y-intercept is going to be 0. That's why I didn't put it here in any of these. Okay. So for $32,000, does the y vary directly with the x in the last question? And how do you know that it does? So the answer choices all say either yes, it is a direct variation, or no, it's not a direct variation, because it goes through the origin or because it does not go through the origin. So pause it here if you need some more time to find your answer. All right, and now we're going to move on. So this one, it is a direct variation because my line goes through the origin. So if it goes through 0, 0, then it is a direct variation. If it does not go through 0, 0, it is not the direct variation. Okay? Moving on to the next problem for 64,000. This one is going to take you guys a while to do. Hopefully not. This is stuff that we just did on Monday. For the equation 2x, y is equal to 2x plus 5, tell me which of the equations that I put on this white box are parallel, which ones are perpendicular, and which ones are in neither. All right, so the answer choices, like, we're looking at the slope. So you're looking at the number in front of the x. If it's parallel, they should have the exact same slope. If they're perpendicular, they should have opposite reciprocal slope, meaning that you're changing the sign from a positive to a negative, and you're flipping your fraction around. And lastly, if it's neither, it means that it was not parallel, so they're not exactly the same, and they're not perpendicular, meaning that they were in both. They might have done the opposite, but not flipped your fraction, not done the reciprocal, or they might have flipped your fraction, but not changed it to be the opposite. Okay, so this is a good time to pause it now. All right, not the answer is D. The parallel slope for 2x is going to be 2x. It's going to be number 3. For perpendicular is when I flip my fraction around. So instead of being 2 divided by 1, that is positive. I'm going to do the opposite, which is negative. And I'm going to flip my fraction around to have the 1 on top, 2 at the bottom for perpendicular. So that is number 1. And the one that is neither is negative 2 because they forgot to flip it for your fraction. And 1/2 because it is a positive 1/2. They didn't do the opposite. So those are neither. All right. For $125,000, which equation is not equivalent to y is equal to negative 4x plus 4? All right. This is a tricky one, so definitely try to do it on your own first. We will go over how to find out whether it's equivalent or not, but it's a good time to pause it and try it first. All right, let's go over it. So on this one, the answer is A. The reason why is because I need to leave my y alone here. So notice it's only one step away from being y by itself. All I have to do is divide every single number by 3. So if I divide every single one of them by 3, I would get y by itself is equal to negative 4x. But 2 divided by 3 does not give me 6. It still stays 2 divided by 3. All right, so pretend that's a 2 because I'm trying to write this with my mouse. All right, so the one, like this one is correct because notice it has a negative 4. And it does go through the point 1, 2. Because if I do 4 times 1, I get negative 4. Negative 4 plus 6 gives me that 2 for the y. And then this one they got by just moving your x's to the other side. So if you add 4x to both sides, you would just get 4x plus y is equal to 6. So the only one that is wrong, oh, we didn't do the last one yet. This one, if you divide every single one of them by 2, I would also get negative 4x plus 6. This would give me negative 4, and this would give me 6. So the only one that was wrong was A. All right? For $250,000, for the given graph, indicate which axis is parallel to the line, so either the x-axis or the y-axis, and find its equation. All right, so make sure that for the equation, notice what number we're going through, and is that an x or a y? because that helps out a lot. So if you need more time, pause here, and now we're going to go over it in the next one. So notice here that it's going to be parallel to the y. So notice this is my y here. It's a line that goes up and down, right? Just like this one. So therefore it's parallel to the y. It cannot be parallel to the x because if not, it's going to touch the x. That wouldn't work. Alright, and like I said earlier, it goes to the 5 of the x. So it's x is equal to 5. Alright? Moving on. Second to last problem. You're going to rewrite this equation into standard form. Notice that all of them are very similar. Remember, to do that, you're going to move your 4x to the other side by subtracting, and make sure that the first number needs to be positive. So if it's not positive, change all of the signs to be the opposite. So if you need more time, pause it here. We're going to go over in the next one. So it should be this one. Let's work it out and see why. Alright, remember, I want my 4x on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4x from this side and from the other side. Okay, we do that so that these can cancel. Remember here that you're not allowed to have a negative here. So if I want to make it into a positive 4x, I'm also going to have to change my y from being a positive y to being a negative y. And the last step is to change this positive 5 into a negative 5. So I would get 4x minus y is equal to negative 5. Alright, you're going to do the exact same thing on the last one, but now we're going to have a fraction. So the last one is the one with the fraction. You're going to rewrite this equation into standard form. Alright, so if you want to, you can pause here and get started on it on your own. Remember that you need to get rid of the negative 2/3 x from this side first. And then you need to get rid of the fraction. So you have to multiply by whatever's on the bottom of the fraction. Alright, if you're ready, let's do the last one for today. The answer should be 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. So let's work it out and say y. So let's write it up here. We got y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. Alright, so first thing I need to do is I need to get rid of the negative 2/3 x on this side. So the way that we do that is that we add 2/3 and x. Not just to this side, but over here by the y as well. So remember, there's a positive y. So negative 2/3 x. No, positive 2/3 x. I need to do the same thing on both sides. I need to add 2/3 x. Alright, so I do that so that these can cancel. Well, now I have negative 2/3 x plus y is equal to 2. They're all positive, so I don't have to worry about switching them over to negative. The only thing I have left to do is to get rid of the fraction. Remember, I need to multiply every single thing by 3. Times 3 here, times 3 here, and times 3 over here. When I do that, these 3's are going to cancel, and you're just left with 2x plus 3y equals, and 3 times 2 is 6. So that was it. You don't have to switch anything else. That's how we got this answer. Alright, y'all. So hopefully you're feeling a little more prepared for the test tomorrow. What I need you to do now is to go do the reflection questions on Schoology. Tell me, what did you learn from this? What is a new word that you learned from this? What is stuff that you are still, or what did you challenge yourself with? Alright? So go and answer those and get a really good grade on that. Alright, have a nice day.